This question asks, use the graph of f of t to sketch the graph of f prime of t and f double prime of t. Then answer part B. So let's start off with graphing these. So by looking at f of t, we could tell that we will have an x-intercept of -6, -2, and 2 for our f prime of t graph. So -6, -2, and 2. We could start seeing that it increases. So we'll be going the opposite of that, starting from up here, down. Then we will be having, because this is a concave down, we will be having a concave up. We can see here that there starts decreasing, so we start increasing, and that there is a saddle right here. Because there's a saddle, we bounce off at x-intercept, we touch it but no, don't go through it. Then we have a concave up and start increasing. Because we decrease, we'll have a concave up like this, and then we will go through our x-intercept. And that is our graph for f prime of t. Now, same thing for f double prime of t. We will have an x-intercept at, I would say, -4 and 0. And -2. So -4, -2, and 0. We start from this direction, so it'll be the opposite of that. So we'll go down here, go through our x-intercept, have a concave down, we'll have another, then we'll have a concave up, go through our x-intercept again, and that is our graph for f double prime of t. Let's move on to part B of our question. List the intervals on which f of t is decreasing, concave up, and slowing down. Now, before we get into this, let's note that when we're talking about increasing and decreasing, we are going to be looking at our f prime of t graph. And if we are talking about concave up or down, we will be looking at our f double prime of t graph. Let's start with our first one. It asks for decreasing. So let's look at our f prime of t graph. We could see that decreasing from -6 to -2 and -2 to 2. So let's write that out. Next is concave up. Let's go to our f double prime of t graph. It concaves up from -4 to -2 and 0 to infinity. 2, or is in 0 from infinity. Next asks for slowing down. Now for this, we'll be looking at both our f prime of t graph and f double prime of t graph. So to help us out, let's look at our intervals for both graphs. So x-intercepts are for our f prime of t graph is -6, -2, and 2. And our x-intercepts for our f double prime of t graph is -4, -2, and 0. Now, when we were looking at -6 on our f prime of t graph from the left side, we could see that it's positive. From -6 to -2, we could see that it's negative. From -2 to 2, you can see that it's negative. And to the right, you can see that it's positive. Let's look at our f double prime of t. We could see that from -4 and to the left, it's decreasing, or it's negative. -4 to -2, you can see it's positive. -2 to 0, we can see it's negative, or -2 to 0, it's negative. And from 0 to the right, we could see that it is positive. From this, we could see if it's speeding up or slowing down based off of the signs from our intervals. Now, we could see that it's slowing down from slowing down on -infinity to -6. -4 to -2. And 0 to 2. Now we could see this with our signs that we have here. If they're opposite signs, it means they're slowing down. If they have the same signs, it means they're speeding up. But this is it for slowing down. And those are answers for these questions.